Hello and welcome to another episode of the Common Chord. I'm thrilled today to have Zach Hubbs and John Holland with me. Today we're going to be talking about some news we released. Dr. Zach Hubbs is our new CEO, Chief Executive Officer, and then John is stepping into the role of Chief Technology Officer. So we wanted to introduce you, but also talk a little bit about this transition and the different ways that we see Paragon leveraging it in the next few years. First of all, Zach, I want to get a little bit of background from you. Tell us a little bit about how you ended up in Chattanooga and at Paragon.
Well, I grew up in the area, but I spent the last 9 years in South Florida running an LBM dealer down there. And I was a partner in that business, and we had a partner buyout. I was bought out, and so my wife and I, we met here in Chattanooga, and we kind of were faced with a decision. Do we kind of figure out life and see where it takes us? Or do we go back to this place that we really love, the Chattanooga area, a place where we met, and then figure out life there? And we chose the latter, and I'm really glad we did. I don't think I would have met this guy if that had not happened.
Yeah, it's exciting. Just looking back at the whole backstory of how you guys got connected, it's just a really neat story. So John, can you just fill us in a little bit on that and how y'all got connected?
So Zach and I, we actually live about a half a mile from each other, it turns out. I didn't know that at the time when we were introduced, but I knew immediately, Zach's really smart. There's a reason he's Dr. Zach Hubbs. It was just immediately obvious to me when we just started talking about life and started talking about business that this person really had a whole lot of things to add to just hearing my story, hearing Paragon's story. And we originally just started off, hey, Zach, can you just come to my house and just sit in my office and just let me run some ideas past you, just here's some things that I'm thinking through. And I don't know how long that meeting lasted, like 3 hours. It was a lot longer than we expected the few minutes of conversation to be, and the rest is history.
So Zach, tell me a little bit about this next phase of Paragon and stepping into this new role, what you envision that to be.
Well, I think these are exciting times. Every business goes through the same life cycle of phases, from inception, growth, maturity, decline. And Paragon, we just turned 10 years old a few weeks back. And most of that life of Paragon has really been in almost a pre-inception phase, like a development phase. Nobody really even knew we existed during that time period. And I think that's one of the quirks of the software business, is how much of our cost of goods and how much work has to be done on the front end before you can ever really launch. Mm-hmm. And then 2 years ago at BCMC 2024, we launched publicly. And since then, we've done the hardest thing any business can do, which is make that turn from that early inception phase into that growth phase. And we've made that turn. And so the next phase is that growth phase. And really, we're still on the front end of that. And so we really have exponential growth ahead of us. So, I mean, this is the fun part, really. I think for anybody listening who is working at Paragon, I'd say buckle up, because this is also going to be probably a wild ride.
So John, how about for you? I mean, you've been at this a long time, and those 10 years, I think when we first met, it was still in stealth, and we were still talking about the plans for when we eventually were open to the public about what you were trying to build. What do you see as the next year, and especially from the technical side?
I was going to say that buckle up, we're on a wild ride. I've been feeling that, and if it's going to get more wild from here, it's going to be something else. Really from the early on ideas of what this was going to look like. I mean, everybody's had the dream when they start a business, when they're going to build a product, that I'm going to build this amazing thing, and all these people are going to show up, and it's going to work great, and it's just going to be smooth sailing. Nothing hard is ever going to be after you get through the initial hard part of building it. And my experience has been, like you said, this is when things accelerate. This is where the number of conversations just multiply, where so many people have questions, so many people want to see where this is going, want to be part of something they can see a vision for what it's going to be, and just how much excitement is around that, and how much effort goes into sharing the vision and where you think it's going to go, how you can have them participate and help make it be all that it can be. And from a technical perspective, I thought, I've learned all of the most important things I need to learn about software in the last 10 years. I'm now getting some competence at this. All that's happening in the world from the perspective of AI software development, just AI tools. I mean, you name it. Our world is going through a change, and these next years are the most critical part from a technological perspective, where I think we have a window of opportunity to capture market share, to do things we couldn't have ever considered doing before, because we have the chance to really be some of the first to adopt some of the technologies in ways that our competitors can. That we have the agility, we have the team, the competence to really seize that opportunity. And that's one of the reasons I'm so glad Zach is here. That could have never happened with me trying to steward the conversation with all the people that are excited about what we're doing now to solve problems, but also the future of what we can do. Holding the future and the present together at the same time and switching context between those things is really hard to do. So I'm super excited about where we're going, and I'm super excited that for a long time, a small team of people working towards this thing is growing, and we have a whole lot more people that can contribute and make it better than any one of us could have done on our own.
That was going to be my next question was, why now? But it seems like you answered that just in the fact that we're going through this transition.
There's so much to do. It's just a matter of practicality.
Yeah, absolutely. It's clear to me that you guys think a lot alike, and there's a lot of things where I've been talking to Zach, and I'm thinking, wow, that's exactly pretty much what John would have said. But how do you guys see your roles complementing one another?
I think my role as CEO is really outward focused, or primarily outward focused. John's role as President and Chief Technology Officer is primarily inward focused, specifically on our software and our development team. John is a phenomenal CEO. I've got some big shoes to fill. And this transition was not really a question of capability. It was more of a question of capacity. And also, again, that practicality. Where is John's gifts, or where are John's gifts best utilized? Clearly, I think that's in that CTO role. So whether it's John and I pursuing goals together, or whether it's Paragon partnering with other industry leaders, I think a good partnership happens when both are bringing their A game and bringing their strengths to the table. And a good partnership happens when there's high trust and high respect between those. And when that happens, there's something special that happens there where it's not just an additive effect, it's a multiplier. 1 + 1 now equals 3. And I think that's what we're going to accomplish together. And I think that's what Paragon's going to accomplish for our industry partners.
That's great. Speaking of the industry partners and looking at the component manufacturer industry as a whole, what do you guys think the industry is headed into for the next couple of years? What does it look like for you, John? We'll start with you.
Oh, absolutely. The biggest question facing everybody in the industry is going to be, how do we do more with less? Everything from the uncertainty of the global economy when it comes to tariffs, when it comes to how much are those tariffs, when it comes to the material costs, when it comes to how do businesses relate as multiple segments of the industry go through technological change and adaptation at different speeds and different amounts. I think we're going to see a lot of soul searching, especially as there's all of that happening at the same time as a lot of aging out and change of the guard, as it were, for a lot of component manufacturers like my family business, where the next generation is coming in with a different set of expectations and new hopes and dreams of what they can do with what technologies, what can they add to their products and services to compete better. I think there's going to be a lot of change. I think there's going to be a lot of opportunity, and the conversations around what's now possible that wasn't possible before is going to be the most exciting conversation to have from here going forward.
We're not unique in the sense that every industry is grappling with and wrestling with this rapid change of technology that's happening today, and trying to figure out how do you leverage that to empower your business, empower your people, empower your processes, all those things.
What's not going to change in the industry is it's still going to be about people and relationships, that you're not going to get away from, the fact that these things you buy that are structural systems, that are components, you don't buy those sight unseen. You don't just say, I'm going to have the faith that this really important part of a building that is the structure is going to be handled off in a way that's impersonal and unrelated. And so I think relationships and people is going to continue to always be central to this industry.
And I can definitely see where some of the challenges are. But just looking ahead for what excites both of you in the next couple of years, What do you think that is?
What excites me is helping our customers thrive. Business is ultimately about relationships and trust, and software is just a problem-solving tool that helps empower that. We are a means, we are not an end, and I think that perspective keeps us humble. I think it keeps us hungry. In a software as a service world, if we focus on helping those we serve thrive, I think our business takes care of itself. And so what would we be doing in coming years or 5 years from now? I hope we're doing the same thing we're doing now, but we're just doing it continuously better and on a bigger scale.
John, what about you? What excites you most for the next couple of years?
The vision from the beginning of what we're going to build and how many lives and businesses it can affect, always in my mind, wasn't as large as I now believe it to be. What's realistic for us to be able to take as far as market share in a world where we're a team as small as we are? With people like Zach here, with technology in the state that it is and it's growing to be, I think our borders are far more expanded than what they once were for how much good we can do in an industry and how many more businesses we can impact and serve well at scale. That was always not a question of can we do it well. The question is at what scale, for how many people can we do an excellent job for? And that's what I think is just the most exciting part, is Zach being here is proof that we can grow and scale in our ability to meet the needs of the customer.
From my perspective, it's been neat to see you guys already be able to take different lanes and divide and conquer. And it really was like nothing's changed in a lot of ways, but then at the same time, everything's changed because now we have a little bit more focus, I think, on the technical side and where we're going with that. And then from a partnership perspective, it feels like we've already made some great headwinds since you've been here. So for you, Zach, I'm curious to know, what did you notice when you came into the Paragon team? What was your first impression?
You're not going to hurt my feelings.
I don't think I should be surprised knowing John, but I think I've been amazed that just what an amazing, exceptional team we have at Paragon. I have yet to meet a weak link, and the team that we have at Paragon really are all first-round draft picks that could play for any team, and yet they choose to be at Paragon. And it's really enjoyable to be able to come in and play for a team that wants to be here every day. So when John was trying to recruit me in and twist my arm to be here, it's like, well, of course, I get to come be a part of the most exciting phase of any business, which is that growth phase, and work with a great team. Sign me up.
There are challenges. There are some things that are difficult. What do you guys think the challenges are for both the leadership transition, but more importantly, the challenges that we're headed into as a company right now?
And I tried to make a list of here's all the things you should know coming in eyes wide open of what's going to be hard about this. And one that I think he's going to grow in his appreciation of. I tried to mentally prepare him, but it's going to be more than that as we go forward, especially in this world of AI. Our ability to estimate how long technical work is going to take to get done is something that I don't think any software development team is excellent at, but ours in particular, sometimes things take way less time than we expect they will. Sometimes they take a lot more. Turns out some of these problems are a lot more thorny and a lot more difficult than we originally imagined. And I think the whole world's going to be grappling with, well, what do we tell customers? We want to be as honest and open about here's how much effort we think it's going to take to be able to meet these extra needs of what you want our software to do. And Zach's going to have a really hard time of being able to give the best answer we can, but also not act like we're sandbagging or act like we are, trying to be too conservative in our answers or too optimistic. That I've already told him as the person who will be leading the technical team to give you those answers of how long is it going to take to do these things. One of the reasons I wanted to come and focus so specifically on technology is because my intuition for some of those answers is off compared to what it once was, because things take longer, things are easier, things are harder than we thought they would be on any given domain. So the uncertainty of those answers for me personally compared to what they once were, and as a company, can we bite off more than we could have chewed before from a technical perspective? Is there more that we can do in this world that we couldn't before? Those are all things that Zach's going to get really frustrated when he says, John, what should I tell this person? And I don't know how long that's going to take, Zach. And he's going to have nowhere else to get that answer from. So that's my first prediction of what's going to be difficult going forward.
And I'll add to that a little bit in the sense that whenever you're taking software and making hardware with it, whenever you're making physical goods, there's just an inherent challenge there that I think right now we see AI do a lot of things. The software that it can generate or some of the things that are really advanced from a digital perspective, but that becomes extra critical when it's dictating something that is built, something that is structural, something that has a lot of complex physical moving parts. But Zach, how about for you? What challenges are you looking at and thinking, that's something I'm looking forward to you rising to the occasion for?
I think for us, it's the challenge of just physically building relationships and partnerships when people are spread all over the country. Thankfully, a lot of our team is here in the area. Some of our team is dispersed, so even internally we have some of those challenges. But then, the people that we serve are dispersed all over the country. In my last role leading an LBM company, all of our customers were in that geographic area within probably an hour or 2 hour drive. And so if I wanted to get in the car and go see somebody, I could go see them. If I wanted to grab lunch with somebody, I could text them and say, hey, to this customer, let's go meet up. Or if we were struggling with a problem with a customer, I could just say, hey, let's get together and troubleshoot this face to face. And that's just more difficult. So I think that's an adjustment for me to figure out how do we do that and when we have so many customers in so many different places.
I know firsthand that our team is very driven and very excited about the opportunity. In particular, maybe from a personal side or a professional side, what drives you? What keeps you waking up every morning to keep going?
I like adventure. I like to achieve things. I like to build things. Our industry, when I say build things, of course I mean houses and trusses, but really it could be anything. It could be building a garden out of the weeds in my front lawn, It could be building a team, building a business, building up my young boys who are turning into men, building and strengthening up my marriage and my wife. I think that building perspective of life and work is redemptive.
What I found to be true for much of the team that's here, and was true of Zach when I met him and he started to tell me his life story and the things that excite him, is what he didn't say there, but just you should see from the outside. Showing him how hard the work is going to be is something that a challenge motivates him and motivates a lot of the people on this team, that he wouldn't come and do this if it seemed easy. Oh yeah, you just can come and phone it in for the amount of opportunity in front of us and the amount of work there is to do. Honestly, I think that's one of the reasons Zach is here, is he sees how much he's needed and how much he can contribute, and it's always so rewarding to contribute when you recognize there's a place for you where you can do stuff that won't get done if you're not there.
Yeah, well, I appreciate both of you taking the time to sit down and just kind of talk through what this transition looks like, as well as get your perspective on the growth phase that we're heading into.